Hey, David Charney here. I wanted to show a little effect that I use sometimes in projects on, for instance, a title screen, Electrical Safety for Beginners. Well, I wanted that to not just be static on the screen. I didn't want to use the effects that Storyline has, where maybe I just slide everything in at once. I wanted it to kind of appear from the center like this and kind of mask in, if you will. And so how do I do that? Well, I'll close the preview. And it's relatively straightforward. I have two scrolling panels, which you can get to through Insert and Scrolling Panel here. And if you drop one of those onto the screen, actually let me add one just so you can see. I will drag that out, and that's a scrolling panel. Then what you need to do is add a text box. You could do this with images or shapes or anything you need to, but I will use a text box for this. And hello. And what I just did there is I dragged the text box into the scrolling panel, and so now you can see it kind of groups it up right here. Hello is within the scrolling panel. So now that hello is within the scrolling panel, it will not show up outside of this box here. So if I were to, for instance, have this fly in from the bottom, it would realistically start from down here and slide its way up here. Let me slow this down a little bit. But you won't actually see this until it shows up in this box. So let me make this a little bit bigger. Also, side note, depending on the size of the text box, you might get this little scroll here. And what I typically do is I drag that outside of the slide here so it doesn't show up. So if I preview this again, and you'll see some of this bottom stuff, but we'll pay more attention to the hello that it will appear. So you can see it doesn't start from down here and slide all the way up. I'll replay this again. It starts from right here and nicely slides up. Now you could put a big box of the same color right below it and do a similar sort of thing. But you can imagine that doing this electrical safety where things have to overlap, that's not going to work. Also, you may want to have an image underneath it, so you can't use a solid colored box over anything. Let me preview this. Same sort of thing. How to stop squirrels, very important, depending on where you live. And the other thing about this one is I don't just use a entrance animation, I use a motion path. As you can see, each of these have motion paths to them, and what's nice about that is you've got a little bit more control over the easing, the speed, and the positioning. If I use a entrance animation of a fly-in, for instance, it's going to start way at the bottom or way at the top and slide all the way from there. But from here, I can actually start it not too far from where it will end up. So it's just gives you a lot of flexibility. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope you can use something like this in your own projects.